No, but you made finger motions, so I stopped.
I know. Why are you paying attention to that? I'm gonna have to figure out some kind of whisper thing for the director. So she's usually on it, but I think she was talking this time. So she's like, can't cold open myself.
Yeah, that would be stupid.
Right. So as we were saying, in grave peril. No.
Well,
We're only halfway through the book at best right now. We should probably focus. But
bouncing back to book 3.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Reread number 2.
What?
Yeah, God, no, dude. We're not doing that again. Like, we're going to have to do it on our own, but, like, I can't imagine we're going to go back through this again. Like I said, I think it's taken us 2 years, and I was definitely thinking last night, like, I'm going through Battlegrounds for the 3rd time, I think, but it's been 2 months we've been recording these episodes. I think we're on episode 5. Is this 5?
I think it's 4.
Not according to your card, it isn't. So, but
the one I was just looking at said, "Oh, whatever."
Battlegrounds Part 5.
Okay, that's what got me confused. It's 124, but it's Part 5, and I was like, "Is it 125 Part 4?" So I did the wrong one.
That's all good. So,
I could fix it.
Well, we're on chapter 17. So, welcome
18.
to the Dresden Files podcast. My note said 17. Whatever. We are going to swear and shit. I'm pretty sure we're 30 seconds in now, so we can say shit and fucking balls and stuff. So
yeah.
We're going to spoil it, obviously. Like, seriously, there's a really good chance, like, the penultimate spoiler of this book is in this episode. Don't freaking... You can listen to us later.
If we don't get to that, then we have clearly lost sight of how to do things.
Right. Tell you what, hit up our Patreon. I think it's like $20. We'll talk to you one-on-one afterwards if you need to hear our voice. But if you don't want to get spoiled, do not listen to this episode. That's your final warning. So,
or do and be ignorant. Either way.
Right.
Just don't yell at us about it.
Right, there you go.
Do whatever you want. Just don't yell at us about what you decide.
I'm not going to limit you good people. Yell all you want. I'm just going to ignore it, though.
So, according to my notes, we're starting in chapter 18. Because we finished 17 last time. So we're even more through the book. And basically they are arriving at the bean where Mab is set up with a whole bunch of other she warriors.
I wonder what's going to happen.
And they're being creepy. And the bean is being all shiny.
The bean is being creepy.
The bean is being shiny is what it's. Because it's like reflecting the fire on one side and reflecting Mab on the other.
With her creepy ass unicorn, and
you
know, we respect unicorns, but mostly because we fear them in winter. So
unicorns who serve winter aren't like the ones you've seen in books or movies or cartoons. They aren't silvery white and pretty. They are designed by H.R. Geiger. Exoskeletons of a lot of black and other creepy colors.
Inexplicable phalluses and boobies. So you know. Yeah,
really
thanks. I was definitely thinking like the piping and whatever, you know, the first time I read through, but I just realized I was like, no, damn it.
Yeah.
I know way too much about H.R. Geiger's art. So.
And it is the size of a Budweiser horse and also emanating power from it. It's fucking scary. It doesn't have eyeballs, so it can't be tricked by glamour. It has 3 horns. And there's this reference, he says, that horn, it's doing something. What had that Tim Curry character called it? An antenna pointing to heaven? Mm-hmm. What is that? What is he talking about?
I'm guessing it's from Legend, but I don't get the reference myself. So,
but that's your job.
Yeah, I know, but I don't read everything or watch even. Anyway, keep going. I'll find it.
Yeah, it's Legend.
That's what I figured, because Tim Curry's the devil in that. So Tim Curry has horns, and so through supposition and, you know, whatever, I was able to figure it out. But I haven't actually, shocker, I haven't seen Legend. I should watch Legend, but, you know, that was not one that my, you know, Christian-based parents let me watch as a child. So, but shock.
You had a much more normal upbringing.
Well, I mean, ish, you know, like they weren't fundy. They were just, you know.
No, they didn't take you to the movie theater and try to figure out how violent is Queen of the Damned. And the movie person says that it's like Blade. It's like, okay, I know she's seen Blade, so we're going.
Right. Well, yeah, I I don't know if we saw Blade in the theater, but I mean, we definitely saw Jurassic Park. I have vivid memories of being like a 5-year-old, or I guess I was like 8-ish, watching that Jurassic Park when the T-Rex roars and I wanted to disappear into the seat. But that's a different kind of nightmare than like, Blade or whatever. But yeah, like I definitely had a very similar, movie diet as a child where it's like, yeah, Terminator, Blade, all of those things before I was, 8, 12, whatever. Absolutely. So
All right, back
totally
to
normal, well-adjusted adults with a podcast. Okay,
yeah.
my action figures, my model ships, like totally normal. So
So the unicorn is doing like focusing power, menacing, emanating Mab's aura of berserker rage, I'll call it. And the knife. What?
It's not berserker
Wait.
rage.
It's just like, what? I'm tired. I'm just like, it's close
It's
enough.
not hate and it's not love. It's reason.
Yeah,
God,
except she's
did you
making
not read the
people
book?
It's
more
power,
violent.
man.
She just wants to make people more aggressive and more violent, and also take away their fear.
Yeah.
That just seemed close enough to me.
Okay.
The artifact taken from Hades' vault is vibrating on Harry's hip.
And I'm trying real hard not to think about
Most
Mhm.
people with vibrators on their hips go through the same thing.
it. Right.
Let's see. So Murphy pulls up in front of the bean, and just they kind of are all getting together and talking, and then all of the warriors she are just kind of watching them, and he knows that they are going to test him because they are predators and it's what they have to do. But he goes straight up to Mab, and she is happy. Like, for a flickering portion of an instant, I thought I saw something in her eyes, like a vague shadow of pain or maybe sympathy, because he has the banner active now,
Right.
and she knows he's now going to feel everything.
Right. Few knights have had the power to bring it to bear, something along those lines, right? I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but yeah. So, like, so she's proven right once again, but also, like, out of these two books, Peace Talks and Battlegrounds, I get the feeling that she feels understood by him, and that's as much as she's been going for. Like, her little war of words with Ebenezer and, all of these things, is that she knows Dresden better than anybody, and by a turn, he knows her better than just about anybody, because she feels the banner all the time, and that's something that he reflects on, I think, in this chapter, if not the next one. But basically, like, everybody thinks she's a cold, evil bitch, but when you've spent thousands of years feeling every wound and death of your nation, like, you're gonna have to, sequester that. You're gonna have to defend yourself, emotionally.
Yeah, and she comments a little bit on that when she mentions half a dozen cohorts have come to his banner, and he knows instantly the number of people, 1,187, and he's like, oh, this is an Electus, and this is going to be very different because it's now its people. And then she says, you did not embrace the cold. So he's still feeling all of his emotions, and he has the banner instead of relying on the winter cold to kind of make him more robotic.
Gotcha.
Because
he's Dresden.
Better action
I'm sorry.
chapters.
Did I stutter?
Yeah, I know they're not mutually exclusive, but this is one of those, like, I'm not the monster moments, right? So,
Listen, you don't have to be a monster to be like, maybe I don't want to feel all these people dying.
right.
And he already did that when he was talking about the vampire battle in the graveyard. That he didn't want to think about losing his friends, but he chose not to. But all of his cohort, they don't have weapons. They probably have maybe like a pipe or something to defend themselves, and they need weapons. And he's basically asking Mab for it, and Mab's like, well, they're not under my banner. Yeah, but I'm your vassal, so give me some fucking shit.
Right.
She appreciates
If you want
that.
me to fight for you, quit making it difficult for me to fight for you. And then the unicorn notices him. It's gotta be a terrible feeling.
Right.
Its head swiveled as smoothly as a gun turret. My scrotum attempted to travel back in time. I forgot that line.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Then Mab starts laughing, which is also creepy. And is it, yes, oh, you'll do. Tell me, who takes out contracts in terms of 1,000 years these days?
Right.
And apparently the asshole who made the bean, it's like, it's 1,000 years. It'll stand for 1,000 years and whatever. And then she opens up and has all of the guns and stuff in there.
Loads and loads and loads of shotguns.
Yeah, just sitting in the middle of the city in a thing that where people go all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there were easily 100 to 200 people there when I was there, so it's there. So
Harry says, "You've got a hell of a lot of nerve, Mab," and she takes it as a compliment.
right. Thank you.
She tells him to make a whole lot of destruction, make the Fomor bleed, and then that's a dismissal, so he goes away.
Yeah.
Not quite.
So almost, yeah. He notices that even though the unicorn's hooves were very cruel, spiked maces, and he asks questions about this banner. Few knights have had the strength to manifest it. And Harry's like, "But you never told me about it." And she's like, "Would you have listened?"
Right.
No. When they die, I'll feel that too. Obviously, for all power, there is a price. Yeah.
That's when he gets the insight that she does too.
Yeah.
Right.
Does she feel it when all of her subjects die and they carry their pain, their rage, their terror back on the price of her own soul? Did she even have a soul anymore? I'd been waiting for Mab to lay into me with the magically enhanced temptation, the usual trappings of blandishments of corruption. But she's not really been doing that because the more terrifying question is what happens if she doesn't?
Mm-hmm.
But
Gotta let him do it to himself.
he knows that it's the price that needs to be paid and it's worth it. And so he goes with it.
No, it's the same arguments that people keep making against him that he's joined the monsters because from everyone's point of view, that's all they see.
Well, he has joined the monsters. They just don't understand the monsters.
Well, yeah. But I mean, it's the same mentality he had going in where it's like, she's going to do this, she's going to do that. It's like, none of you really seem to be paying attention to how this works.
Yeah. Mab doesn't want to change him. She just wants to unleash him. Let him be himself.
I don't buy that because certainly, I mean, early on, she was all about I think she would have been, she didn't want another Lloyd Slate, but she would have been okay with it. But she definitely, like he had understood since early on that she wanted the wizard and she needed a thinker, right? She needed somebody smart who could read between the lines and get the job done, beyond just being a bruiser. But at the end of the day, she'll make being a bruiser work, right? So she'd be just fine corrupting him and, having that status quo and whatever. But it's, I don't know, I guess the difference between having...
So if he was corruptible, then she would have to know that he's corruptible and make it work for her. But every time she pushes on him and he resists and he fights back and he isn't corrupted, then he's even stronger for it.
Sure.
And she knows and agrees with his motives. And so it's like when on the top of the castle and she just unleashes him and laughing at everyone else who thinks that he should stay put and was actually going to listen to them about that.
Right.
Yeah. She's getting the better deal that way.
Right. Well, and having a meta thought, right? So she knows what he is. She knows what he's meant for. This whole time we've assumed up to a point that she's building him as her weapon, right? But maybe she knows that, in the end game, he needs to be incorruptible because that's the only way he's going to be able to fight the outsiders. And so she's not even making him her weapon. Obviously, she's happy to use him and hone him in the interim. But because she is Team Reality and she will do whatever she needs to do to maintain the outer gates, all of this is to make sure, I can't think of the direct adage, but she's basically tempering the steel, right? She needs to know he's going to break before it's the end game, because if he breaks on the field with the outsiders, it's game over for everybody. If he breaks along the way, well, let's get the next one and see if that does better, So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Moving to chapter 19 now. Sonya and Murphy are passing out weapons to all of the new volunteers and trying to show them how not to kill themselves with it.
Right.
Yeah. Harry calls him Toot Toot and then sends them a message with Etri. Within 5 minutes of that, Svartal's squad combat engineers arrive and start doing things to this gazebo. And there's styrofoam underneath the grass and weird shit.
Earthbenders, my dude. Yeah. Sonya's like, oh, I didn't know that this was built out of styrofoam, but it's a giant garden, is what Harry says. But honestly, I don't think it matters. It's it's Svartalf Earthbenders. So,
is a diffilady enough for you?
right.
Works enough. And Sonya starts talking tactics of they can hold here, but they could go around, so should leave 1/3 and then go find others. Pow pow, video game easy.
Right.
So positive. And he says that we are very positive people, the Russians. But no, you
Russian. Yeah. Very positive people. I love little Jedi man. So, I get to poke you a couple of times before you get to poke back, so
I don't rub it in.
Yeah, you do. You absolutely gloat in your smugness.
Yes, you will.
Yeah, well.
Sonya basically said, this is a terrible fight, but it's the only one we have. Fair is many steps up the ladder as we are now. With all of his tactics, we do this, we do that. They kill us here, they kill us there.
Right.
And Harry gets the idea that all of the people of Winter are now going to be trying to do their wintry things, and he sends out a thought as loud as he possibly can to all of Winter of the mortals of Chicago are off limits. Cross me on this and I'll kill every last one of you. And they actually listen, because Harry's will becomes their will and just takes its place.
Yes.
I felt the adjustment of their very beings.
He equates it to a farmer who wants to look after his livestock. It's like, no, these are my prey.
Mm-hmm.
You go get your own.
Maybe it's as close as being protective as Winter gets, but it was hard and real and probably good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts sending the Malks out to go do things.
Well, what good is having them if you don't lose them?
He goes to Murphy and he's talking about the guns and the volunteers, and she's trying to teach him of don't put the weapon at your face. Don't put your finger on the trigger unless you really mean it.
Yeah, she goes through the 4 rules, and then, at the end, they're she also tells them, they're pretty much going to be able to shoot as far as you can see, so just point and click, and then they're like, wait, that's all we get? So plenty of soldiers have gotten less. So,
yeah, and they don't have the abilities to give them more.
Right.
Harry says, if you want to run, head west. The enemy is coming in from all sides, everywhere else. And this is eventually going to be named Randy.
Yeah. What? You think you're a what? Yeah.
Harry asks Murphy for advice. What do I do? How do I make sure that these people don't get killed? And she says, trust Sonya because he has experience. He was already doing that, but yes, Sonya's in charge. Sonya's in charge of the whole banner, and then he sets up all of these officers in groups of 10 people or something.
Every 30 people gets an officer. There's 10 officers, something like that.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Or maybe more, because obviously that doesn't break into 1187 at any point, but he does say groups of 30, so.
So yeah, as he's like talking to people, and he's tall enough that he can just like be seen over everyone else because he's abnormally tall. And he introduces himself that he's the Wizard of the White Council. It's like, you're what?
Yeah.
And he goes up to Randy and says, okay, I'm only going to do this once.
Right.
And he makes a giant green gold lightning thing and explodes at a tree or something. And he says, Aegis Chenis, which I did see it was a reference to Big Trouble Little China.
Nice. I didn't pick that up, but that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's basically the Latin dumb version of the one of the characters' names who did basically exactly that.
Egg Chen is the wizard of that movie, basically. So more or less just the archetype. So yeah, that's fucking that's awesome.
And then the tree that had been struck starts burning with green flame, which is still shouldn't have been doing that because that's the breakdown of reality that Bob had been talking about. And then all of the volunteers go like, oh, that's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wizard, any questions? Are you on our side? Very good question.
Right. You might live.
Yeah. Then he installs Sonya as the head guy. It's like, hey, how the hell did you get a Kalishnikov? Because he's Russian. He just has them all the time.
Yeah.
He says he finds it, but like, whatever.
It's his supernatural ability.
Yeah.
Yeah. Knights are where they need to be when they need to be there, and Sonya gets a Kalishnikov. So
works out.
Yeah.
Right, and the officers are only able to give one of 3 orders: stand, retreat, and follow me, because it's going to be more confusing than even that can handle. And like, when in doubt, just go kill the enemy. When in doubt, shoot. If retreating, kill them. If standing, kill them.
pretty much just keep killing.
Yeah. Harry asks Murphy, what's going to happen after this, do you think? And she says, I don't, because I'm doing today first.
Good for her. That's thinking ahead.
Deliberately not thinking ahead, but it is also the intelligent thing to do. And Greymalkin reaches out to Harry, and the enemy is coming from the north. I'm also advised by this irritating pixie to inform you that there is a still occupied child care center in its path with a number of young mortals inside.
Oh, balls.
Yeah.
Oh no, kids.
Orphans, not the orphans.
It's like, did you guys see the new Wonder Woman movie yet?
No.
No.
No, don't.
You're not going to ruin it for me, though. So
No, I wasn't planning it. I'm just saying, don't. I mean, you can watch it to laugh at it.
I'm gonna
But
have to, but
There's the convoy scene where they're going, and a bunch of kids run out into the middle of the road because you need extra tension. So their genius idea is Chris Pine takes an RPG and launches it, and then she whips it and uses that as propulsion to go fly and save the kids.
cool. Yeah.
The movie's so terrible.
Right.
Wow. I had no expectations, and that's dumber than I expected.
Oh, it's great. Not only that, she catches them slow motion. You could see she clearly should have shattered one of their necks the way she catches them, because she's a fucking superhero traveling however fast she's traveling with them.
Let's not worry about superhero physics, okay? There isn't a superhero that wouldn't have liquefied themselves, let alone the person they were saving in any of the modern movies, right? Like,
I wouldn't have.
with the exception of maybe Batman, because he doesn't have super strength, but like Iron Man, he doesn't have inertial dampeners. He ain't making that landing. Like, it just goes on and on and on.
He's a
So.
genius. Inertia doesn't matter when you're a super genius.
Right.
Right. So there are kids in danger, and Harry just shouts at people to follow him because they need to go get and save the kids. They get on the bike. Butters and the Alphas. Sonya is coming from the north, getting them organized, and then they'll all go. And they go the few blocks away, and here's the screams of the Huntsman Spears blasts. And then the sound of a Jotun's horn, the same one as before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You're
and
supposed
he
to do
gives
an
out an
impression
order.
of it.
No.
Oh.
He gives an order to Winter of converge on that engagement, kill anything that tries to harm the children. And now he has got ogres and gnomes and mouths and black dogs and a whole bunch of wild she that are following his orders and killing a whole bunch of shit. And with the monsters as our vanguard, we went off to be Jotun Slayers. Chapter 20. They get in front of the building, and a single man is defending the doorway of the staircase that led up to the second level, and it was Bradley.
Yep. The only guy who's more Mary Sue than Murphy. So Bradley beat her in every tournament, man. If you're upset about Murphy's skills, then
sorry, right off screen. No, that's supposed to impress me.
Yeah, Murphy's second best, man. So Bradley's that much more badass. He steals the Jaffa staff and he just starts blasting the, Anyway.
I don't get the reference. Is it, let's say Star Wars to annoy him? Stargate,
no,
okay.
Stargate, yeah. Way more obscure for you kids. Stargate was great. It had, a decade or more run, but it didn't have the staying power of Star Wars and Star Trek, so.
Because it's TV.
I mean, the spears from the movie certainly is basically what I picture as the Huntsman spears.
Yeah, that's, right? I mean, it's the same thing. Yeah, so the movie works if you've seen the movie, so.
Yeah, didn't remember the name.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Bradley's fighting, and he sees the remnants of the more fighting that he'd already done. And he's willing to continue fighting all of the huntsmen. It seems like he'd killed at least 5 already.
Yeah.
And this is when Murphy drops. Yeah, that son of a bitch beat me in every tournament.
Right.
So Harry sets Winter on the huntsman. And so those get taken care of by ogres. Huge white fur things like river shoulders if he'd been a smoker since childhood after a heroin bender. Yeah, creepy. Lots of action. Alex doing things, Black Dog's doing things. It is harder to talk about all the action stuff because I don't want to break it down scene by scene.
Yeah. I mean, suffice it to say, Bradley is an unreasonable badass, but I love him for it. He's definitely the dwarf of this, book. So, but
Murphy's still shorter.
Right. Yeah, but she's a hobbit. Yeah. So, but it's great because they start talking about all the craziness and what the hell's going on here? We're like, remember when you told me in a closed session that I was crazy? And then Butters shows up. Yeah. Remember when you told me in a closed session that I was crazy?
I know.
This is what we were talking about, you asshole. Yeah. So
that was a good moment. But before that,
Dr. Butters.
As all the fighting is going down, Grey Malkin eventually lands right in front of Murphy's Harley, and she freaks out. Sir Knight, Elder Grey Malkin reporting for duty. She's like, Jesus Mary, Mother of God, what the fuck is that? She's probably never seen a mouth before. And he ignores her and then just reports on the action going around. They are badly outnumbered. The monsters are here and there. My kin are keeping them occupied for now. A retreat would be ideal before, and then the Jotun horn goes blaring. That. Well done, Elder. Harry probably doesn't even realize what he said, but he used it as a title. Well done, Elder.
Right.
Well, he used it before to describe him, that he was...
Yeah. But he probably didn't even think about why he was calling him that.
Right.
Probably not. Well, he's, as long as Catsis actually did, he's the eldest now.
But I miss Catsit.
Huh? Well...
Catsit is fun.
I mean, he only fell into cold and darkness, so...
Look, it's going to be fine. He's going to come back later with robot legs, inexplicably, because all you guys can't let him go. Oh, wait, sorry.
Thanks, Andreas. Who likes that shit because he's a pleb.
Harry says, but we're getting those kids out. And Malk says, we cannot contest a Jotun, Sir Knight. So Murphy says, pussy!
Right.
Too good. Yeah, you have to say that to the cat like that. And then she and Gray Malkin have their little face down, and she says, "I have steel jacketed rounds." And yeah, he's big and scary, and so they just ignore each other. They get
Right.
along just fine. Okay, but they are getting the kids out first. Harry declares. So Gray Malkin and Winter has to keep the retreat open, and they can't hold it for long, but they're gonna because Harry said so.
Yep.
And then they go up to Bradley and try to calm him down. And he seems very shell-shocked.
Get over it, man. Got shit to do and a kid to save.
Right.
Yeah. And he is asking, like, what the hell are you talking about? What is happening? And then Butters just says, hi.
Right.
He's like, you know all that stuff I told you in closed session that you thought was bullshit? And all the stuff I told you in closed session that you thought was bullshit? And Bradley is just like, huh? What? Fuck no.
Right. Which I'm curious about the background on that, right? Because it's like, I mean, he doesn't seem, as far as we know, he's not also a therapist, right? So I'm assuming this is pure discussion. And if it is pure discussion, it certainly could make sense that Murphy talked to him, but why Butters? You know, like, so.
Well, he's, Emmy for the cops, and he was the one who did the whole vampire thing that got him, disgraced. So if that's the one he had to follow up with, is like, hey, this is what I found, there's vampires.
Right.
Yeah. Same with all of everything that Murphy got in trouble for.
Yeah, well, she's just not very good at her job.
Bradley deals with the weirdness well enough, and he says, fuck it, I'll lose my mind later. We've got 6 kids, a nice lady, and Rudolph up there. Okay, so they have to get the kids out, and Bradley agrees. He goes to the door, announces himself, and...
God damn it, Bradley!
Yeah. We've got to get out of there while they can, and the kids, but Rudolph is terrified and crazy, and he doesn't want to leave because it's a war zone, and yes, this is all very good points, and so Bradley just, like, hits him, and he's knocked out a little bit, right? And just, like, grabs him, puts him over the shoulder, and like, okay, we can go now. Especially when Rudolph started, like, accusing everyone of lying, and that's why everything was going down. As they're leaving, the alphas kind of go around the kids to make sure that they see the big puppy instead of all the carnage that's on the other side of them.
Right. Yeah, the alphas. Yeah.
Yeah, 8-foot wolves. Okay.
I mean, if that's not a big puppy, I don't know what is.
I'd call it a big puppy. I'd probably run up and try to hug it.
Yeah, well, you'd be eaten, so that's okay.
I know. But I get really dumb about cute things.
I wouldn't call a wolf cute.
I would.
Yeah.
But that's why you get eaten.
I know.
Wolves got domesticated for a reason, my buddy. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah, what I have barking upstairs every time somebody comes and knocks on the door, that ain't an apex predator. That's someone who eats styrofoam like an idiot.
So he's an
adorable.
apex predator for coffee cups. So
Harry gives him directions. If you go down these blocks and you find the big black guy screaming in Russian, that's Sonya, and he'll help you. Yeah. South Pavilion, Sonya, Wizard send me, get the kids out, and then Bradley's looking at the wolves like, they're friendly?
Yeah.
Yeah, those ones are, but don't trust the cats. You're handling this pretty well. I am not. I am not handling this well.
Yeah. Between fuck it, I'll lose my mind later and that line. Yeah, for sure. So.
Yeah, it was pretty endearing in this chapter for Bradley. And then Harry kind of figures out that, oh, Bradley went to this place because one of these kids is his little girl. Yeah.
Very selfish.
And Butters is going to go protect the kids because Fidolakius, and that means, yes, it'll work.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really no circumstance where it wouldn't have worked in this particular night.
Yeah.
Like, they'd have to be really, really being petty and conservative with the rules. If there was any instance he ran into tonight where I was like, nah, this is not going to work.
as they're starting to leave and moving and everything is fine, and then Toot Toot appears and says, "My lord, I have engaged the enemy." Great. And almost gets split in half until Lacuna shoulders into him, because Giant axed the Jotun, and now the Jotun is there to kill them.
Yay.
Yeah. All right. So he has the very simple choice. He does the suicidal fight, lets the kids go away. It's like, this is basically no choice then. He's going to fight a Jotun. Chapter
As you
21, Jotun fighting.
Right.
And this
The
Jotun
gang
knows what
fights
he's
a
doing.
Jotun.
Yeah.
First, they got to do the rap battle, though.
Yeah. After talking about, like, he's really big, and that's a really big axe. This guy's like 3 stories tall.
Right.
And like throwing cars around, I think, a little bit.
Breaks a bunch of
But-
glass. Has to use his axe as like a brake, doesn't he? Because he's basically skating on the ice fall.
Once they start throwing down, but like, so the Jotun starts the introductions by calling him Sedermater. And then it's like, "Who are you and what have you done that I might know whom I kill?" Old school Viking stuff. Got to do this. And it gives them time. So we'll delay. I'll talk about all my boastings, and you better do all of your boastings too. And then he doesn't.
Well, yeah, the problem
Oh,
is
he
like
does.
Dresden takes like 20 minutes to give him his rap sheet about, all the wizards he's killed and all the monsters and, the entire fucking Red Court. And then he's like, "Yeah, well, I fought Thor and I lived." Well, fuck. I mean, don't get me wrong. That is somewhat impressive, especially coming from the monster side of the thing. But destroyed the entire Red Court is really up there. So I,
Are you assuming Thor couldn't destroy the entire Red Court if he
Well,
wanted
not
to?
like all at one time in one night,
No,
Why
for
not?
him it would be a happy campaign of just like, okay, these ones are here, we kill them. Go to the next ones, they're here, we kill them, and then on
Right.
and on and on.
He would have just,
Couple-
Taking months.
centuries.
fallen from the sky into the middle of chicken pizza and just vaporized them all with lightning. 'Cause that's
There you
what you do.
Okay, so Thor is your favorite, then I take it.
I mean, I like Thor. I don't know that he's my favorite. I don't really have a favorite god because,
I was thinking Avenger, but okay.
Oh, Avenger? That depends on the moment. It's usually Stark, but yeah, Thor's up there.
In all of this, is actually the important thing of this is when Bradley is trying to leave, but he has his little girl and Rudy, and he can't do both. So Harry tells him to drop Rudy, take the girl, and run. This is why Rudolph is there in a few minutes and still freaked out.
Totally doesn't matter though. So it's just a happy
Yeah.
coincidence. So
And Harry does all of his introduction. It's impressive claims. Damn right. Who are you? What you got? Svangar, son of Svangi. I fought the Odin son and lived to tell the tale. And he's done. Should have been more.
right. And
Oh, you're supposed to take longer than that. Okay. And they just nod at each other. And then Svangar goes at him with the axe, this gigantic car-sized axe. And they do the fighting and the big explosions and all the things. And Harry points the staff at one side, does his force spell, and then in order to push himself to the other side and dodge the axe. That was actually kind of clever.
and then the fire. Ooh, on the fire giant.
Yeah, he uses fuego. It's like, you think that works?
Yeah,
On
a little fire
Muspelheim?
like that against. Yeah, exactly. I know it's such a stupid Harry moment too, because it's like, you are the Winter Knight. He's like, but fire's my go-to.
Exactly.
I'm like, you're the goddamn. It's you used ice tonight. Why not at least try the ice instead? So
Yeah, he used the ice like an hour previously against the whole line of Jotuns, and he uses fire against this one.
right.
Because if he doesn't act stupid, then we don't get to have the moment where the Hobbit blows him up with fire.
True.
And we all needed that for catharsis for something, I've been told.
Well, we needed that because of what's going to happen. So
We is one too many, Kimosabi.
We can still be two. Yeah. Three's a crowd.
True.
Right. Harry got tossed around between cars, and it hurts a lot. Yotun raised the axe sideways like a fly swatter and just was like, eh. And then Harry takes out the box labeled camping supplies and has the RPG or whatever rocket launcher. I don't know. I'll try not to be technical because I will say the wrong thing on that one.
Just call it a bazooka. That's
Swanger-
what Harry called it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will do that.
And Rudy calls it a rocket launcher. So
Yeah, well, who cares what he wants?
Swanger accuses Harry of fighting like a woman, and Murphy said, "Hey, Dritsek," as me too.
Yeah. This is a
Bazooka
new.
to his throat, and
I was going to say this is a new take on Fight Like a Girl. So
Mm-hmm.
it works. And then his throat
Shocking.
explodes. Resisting fire is a nifty trick, but in the end, Sir Isaac will always weigh in on matters. Fire is an absolute collection point of energy, and it can always get hotter. You ever see a watermelon get smashed with a sledgehammer? It did that.
Yay.
And he crushes more cars, and one outflung hand landed not 3 feet away from Harry's toes. And all of a sudden, it's way too quiet in the street. And Murphy explains that she had 2 bazookas. The other one was the practice launch. He says, "You never told me about it." "No, you great gawking man-child who'd have wanted to play with it." Truth hurts.
Which is the appropriate reaction to,
And we should have Andreas here for this one. We can give him all sorts of shit.
right.
like, because he's
Norwegian.
foreign.
Dritsek is Norwegian for scumbag.
Yeah, it's tradition. I'm a cop. So
Mm-hmm.
It's a
And it's
tradition
tradition
to
for
be
us to make
Norwegian.
fun of Andreas. All right. And Rudolph is awake and
Oh.
panicking.
Oh no.
you just killed that man with a rocket launcher. Like the dude was the size of a building. Come on.
Yeah.
Like,
The amount
not
of
to mention
denial.
it's self-defense. Like, give me a fucking break. You know.
Yeah.
Nah, it's
Even
fine.
if he's not crazy and if he was right, you know, like
Yeah. Self-defense is still absolutely a thing that cops use. Yeah. He's very. Yeah. All right. Calling them terrorists, and Murphy just says, "You don't know what's going on," because he hasn't been listening to the fact that they've all been trying to tell him what's going on for several books now. He's like, "You just killed someone with the rocket launcher." That was the idea, yeah. And Harry is trying to raise a hand and like swat him away with force, but the amount of damage that his arm has taken means that it's not moving. It was dislocated another time and possibly broken. It's just the amount of static that he's experiencing. These signals are not going.
He didn't use the antenna properly.
Murphy tries to get Rudolph to take his finger off the trigger at the very least. And "I don't need you to something," and then she's dead.
Well, 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 if it isn't the consequences of my own actions.
right. Yeah, if only this had been foreshadowed 3 times this book, and everybody in his life has told him to get, like, his mom called him up, be like, "Rudy, is your finger on the trigger again?" You know, like, fucking hell. It's, yeah.
Mhm.
It's tragic and it's stupid. And
Hilarious.
And he's looking at the gun and was like, "Wait, what? What did it do? It did the thing that I told it to do because I had my finger on the trigger and squeezed? How dare it?"
Stupid toys.
The city is exploding, and Harry doesn't care. The bullet had gone through her neck, out an inch above the Kevlar vest, but it hadn't gone straight through and just went upward toward her left ear. And there's a lot of blood because that's a lot of vessels right there. But he's trying to stop the blood flow and keep her awake. He calls her Karen, and then she says that she always preferred Murph from him. And the soul gaze is about to start, and then it doesn't.
On an empty house.
Oh, gasp. Oh well.
And Butters is there, but he doesn't even really try to do anything because he knows it's too late. Even if he says, even if she had been on the table when it happened, they probably wouldn't have been able to save her.
Well, especially not him. He cuts up dead people.
Yeah. And Harry's trying CPR and breaking her ribs with all the compressions, but she doesn't respond. I don't think CPR would help with lack of blood flow.
Oh, it's fine. He's just going to pump the blood out of the holes, the extra news.
I know. Yeah. Butters tries to get Harry to get up and go because they have to go do other things, but Murphy is gone and the Winter Mantle is not helping for all of this pain. And
Gee, maybe he shouldn't have given in to the cold. That would have been a handy
then
thing.
there's Rudolph making noises and being scared again, flinches away from Harry when he looks at him and says that I didn't mean to do anything, and Harry doesn't care and just starts running after him. Chapter 23 starts with hate is comforting. Hate is pure. This is when he's fully with Mab.
Well, now we get to see what Monster Harry looks like, at least one-on-one. So,
I mean, this is not exactly new. He's perfectly fine with hating before.
Yeah.
yeah, but
It's
this
just
is-
extra hate.
Yeah,
But this is not all that different from what he did to the ghouls. I mean, you know, as far
I
as
suppose.
enjoying the torture and the chase and the yada yada.
Yeah, but you're allowed to do that to ghouls because they're not human.
Apparently, that
Rudolph
makes him a
still counts.
people.
people are weird, man. I got to tell you, killer robots, ghouls, vampires, all that shit. Just because I'm going to kill all of them, like I'll tell you one thing they got in common: they eat people. Okay, they're
Robots
on the
eat
table.
people?
Like killer robots eat people. Like if I decide to wipe out the entire race of Terminators or synths or whatever, I'm speaking to a particular crowd. They know who I'm talking about. So,
Also, this is how you know Butter
They
sucks
eat
even more,
people?
because not only does it stop him from doing what he wants to do, but the last time Harry did this, the other two knights just stood there and kind of like were happy to let him do it when he was beating the shit out of Cassius. So
yeah, but he wasn't going to kill him. So.
he was going to kill him.
And no, because he didn't. Because he came out while they were standing there. They were like, don't phone calls cost more than a quarter these days? Like, they were there and they would have stopped him if he went too far. I mean, you're right. It is, somewhat similar. But in this case, he was going to go too far. He was going to kill the guy. So.
But he should have, according to everyone.
I mean, what Harry did to Cassius was really brutal. Like, broke all of his limbs, right? Landed in the hospital for several months. Like, that is a lot. That is still taking it too far.
Yeah, but Michael said it's okay. Therefore, we know
Right.
definitively that it's
Right.
okay. So.
No, we don't. We just like to pretend it is because it's Michael and everybody loves
Well,
him.
he couldn't have an Archangel's grace if it was wrong. So I'm just telling you, that's
Is that how
pretty
that
much
works?
the White God's official stamp that beating
Uh-huh.
the ever-loving fuck out of a Denarian is okay.
And that tells you all you
A man
need
who
to
was
know
no
about
longer a
this.
Denarian
Right.
because he had just given up the coin, and Michael didn't have the grace at that time.
Just
I'm-
saying. Like, it's
Yeah,
it's
we-
forgivable. How about that?
We know that heaven's got some squiffy policies.
Yeah, you guys are shying away from the whole, like, there's a war in heaven and hell, right? Like, what do you think the war looks like? You think the angels are over there with Nerf bats and it's just be like, bonk, bonk, oh, go back to hell.
I'm just saying, don't be
You know.
hypocrites about it then.
Right.
Do it all the time.
But Rudolph apparently knows how to run, and Harry also knows how to run, so this is fine.
Right.
He makes a lot of funny sounds, a lot of gasping and whimpering.
No,
We missed
you
an opportunity
can't.
to like break his nose and like make a Rudolph joke, with blood.
that
Hmm.
would
I mean,
have
he
been
breaks
funny.
a bunch of stuff. So
Yeah.
I know, but like,
But-
Rudolph with your nose so bright.
Yeah.
I'm gonna really
But
kill
it's
you
like
tonight.
June. He's forgiven for not making a Christmas reference. So
He is part of winter. He has license to make Christmas jokes all year round.
I approve. Rudolph is saying, you can't do this. Why do you think I can't do this? How can you stop me from this?
right. Yeah, my thought when he's like, "Oh, you can't," is like, "Yeah, like you couldn't fucking kill Murphy, you scumbag." Like,
Right.
for the record, I don't endorse this. I understand it, but I
Right.
don't endorse it.
You would still be the guy trying to stop the friend from murdering someone.
I mean, I'd probably be smarter about it than Sonya, but yes, if I were the Knight of the Cross in the moment, it'd be like, "Look, dude, I get it, but I'm gonna have to stop you." Like so.
And that shows you Sonya has apparently grown from when he was happy to let Cassius get beaten to death.
Yeah, there you go.
He has an arc.
Hmm.
Angel.
They wouldn't have been able to stop him though, or no, if he had like set the Malks on Rudolph or something. That would have.
Well,
So they would have had to fight in the box. I mean,
Yeah,
right.
they just wouldn't have had to fight.
And he
Harry.
wouldn't
But
have though, right? Because
it's not
he wants the
personal, then.
personal. Yeah, he wants the
Yeah.
personal satisfaction. So
Yeah. But squishing Rudolph with the shield, I thought was like very simple, but very like also brutal. Like it breaks his finger because he still has his finger through the trigger hold thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because he can't fucking let go of it.
yeah,
It's not like it got him into any trouble having his trigger on his finger on the trigger. So what's the big
Right.
deal?
And then Rudolph pees himself. And just continues squishing. And Sonya arrives. Fuck off, Sonya. It won't be a minute. Just have this thing I need to finish. There's like a few of like, well, he's not a threat to you anymore, but he killed Murphy, but he's not killing you now. So you should stop. I will not ask again.
draws Esperachius.
Yeah. Sonya wouldn't walk away. That wasn't the knight's style. He wasn't going to let me finish my business. I would have to reason with him. And then Sonya closes his eyes for a second as if in pain. Which, come on, that was just stupid. But it wasn't, because it immediately had Harry stop killing Rudolph and attacking Sonya instead.
Right.
They fight very ruthlessly with each other,
Yeah.
hand to hand.
Very winter, very dirty.
Yeah, because immediately he tries to kick Sonya in the balls.
Yeah, fucker. That's totally uncool, for the record. I will cut you for that. Yeah.
And he doesn't do it later when he should. But,
Yeah.
whatever.
Mhm. Yeah. Let's see. Does Harry's nose get broken and then Sonya's nose gets broken, right?
Bites Sonya's ear. Mike Tyson
Oh,
style.
yeah.
Holyfield.
And obviously Sonya's wearing steel-toed work boots, and so when he kicks Harry, that fucking hurts. When Sonya has to drop his sword, Harry's then trying to squish him. And then Butters is there. And he's trying to stop Harry from doing everything. Because he's another of the presentations of him being tiny, and he should run because he's so tiny and he can't really do anything. But he doesn't because he's so amazing. Which in this instance, it would have been okay. But then I got irritated with he kept doing the same description later and later. But he can't let Harry do the evil things.
I mean, we can. We just don't.
He's- I mean, what you got to understand is like this is pretty much literally his nightmare, right? Is facing down Darth Dresden by himself, So he's been worried about this at least since Gold Days. So, and he's still the junior knight,
Yeah.
Yeah, but he can intercept a lightning bolt with a lightsaber, so it's fine.
He can intercept like the eye with a lightsaber, can he? Like,
Yeah,
So-
you're not making it better.
I'm just saying, like lightning's nothing. And we see Obi-Wan block lightning with a lightsaber all the time. What are you mad about?
Obi-Wan's an actual Jedi as opposed to this little shit.
Obi-Wan doesn't have an archangel in his lightsaber, so
Obi-Wan is an archangel. Don't you dare disrespect that.
all right, I will concede that point. You can have it. I'll be happy to join you on that one.
Especially when he becomes a Force ghost. He's everywhere.
Butters does say that he's not trying to protect Rudolph, he's trying to protect his friend. Yes, we get it, but like, I don't know. I'd like to see Rudolph squished. I'm not a good person.
I'd like to see Butters kicked in the balls, but we can't always get what we want.
Right. I do get what I want, because when he hits Harry with the sword, his mantle goes away. So I thought that was interesting.
Yes, this was the important payoff to the like. It's just a thing we can like all put our hands through it. It's uncomfortably warm to Harry, but it's comfortable for the rest of them.
Yeah.
And Butters tries to parry when Harry is lashing out, and his world becomes pain. There's no warning or anything, but the second the arm touched the plane of the blade of light, everything shifted. The mantle vanished. Every injury, every hurt, every ache, scratch, and bruise, and all the strain became real and crashing down on Harry. He felt Rudolph, and he felt his terror, the agony, confusion, the humiliation, the hatred, the self-hatred. And then he feels again the loss of Murphy. And it's enough to get him to stop fighting, because now he's just a crumpled mess.
He's sad now.
Yeah. He's broken. And tiny, tiny Butters is holding up the very large frame of Harry Dresden while he's hysterically crying.
It's very sappy.
And Butters was trying to comfort Harry, and Harry's saying, like, well, he took her from me. He took her from all of us, but he'll answer for it before the law. Except he won't, because now there's not a body.
Mm.
Yeah, how can they can't charge him with murder because you can't prove that he murdered anyone.
You people are always so worried about mortal institutions. He's going to answer to the law. I mean, honestly, like, regardless of what happens, I can't imagine he's going to be a cop anymore. You know, like, you want to talk about what a broken person's going to look like. If we're true to, you know, previous Rudy and, you know, his supposed, you know, protection of Murphy and everything from Full Moon. So, you know, we'll see. Full Moon, and what was the other one? You know, because, like, wasn't there also a later moment where it's like, if you hurt her, I'll kill you?
Grave Peril.
No, that wasn't Full Moon.
Grave Peril? Yeah, I think.
Yeah, Grave Peril. He was still more or less on her side.
Right. So.
Oh, right.
That's when you
Grave
have
Peril
the nightmare and everything.
Yeah. Okay, I thought that was only Full Moon. No, it was Grave Peril.
Yeah. So.
And then after that, he goes to being, you know.
We'll see. I mean, otherwise, like, if he doesn't, then yes, I would be fine with him being killed. So, like,
well, he's not going to be in jail from. I mean, nobody who saw it. People that aren't going to be able to testify to anything because, again, there's no body.
If Dresden were to say this is what happened, like, so in a way, it's probably circumstantial, or he said, she said, maybe. But come on, you've got Dresden says Rudy killed her. Bradley says the last time I saw Rudy, he was there, and he's got this long history of not keeping his finger off the goddamn trigger. So it makes total sense. I think that's probably enough. Like, I'm not a lawyer, but it's
Not without a
Bradley,
body.
you know. So, nah.
Not without a body. You can't
I
just
don't
be
buy
like,
that.
I saw this person die, and then there's nothing there.
Yeah, I
They
think
have
they're
to
going to
at
have
least
trouble
something.
finding a lot of bodies after this one. So,
Well, but that's the thing with all this. There's nobody's going to get arrested for this unless they're like looting after the fact. There's nothing to be done. It's just sweep it under the rug as much as you can, and it's like the bullshit argument they make at the end of The Dark Knight, where it's like you can't sweep 5 buddies under the rug, and that was the fucking Joker, and he was still alive.
right. Well, then it's a wedding present. Either Mab or Laura's going to get a hold of him.
Yeah,
Just be
but
like,
by then Harry will have learned to forgive him, and it's okay.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, some of the tone, like if you take some of the earlier stuff as like Harry writing this after the fact, like he does seem very neutral about Rudy, right? So obviously he's not like, you know, I don't know. It could be imperfect narration or something like that, but I don't know. We'll see.
Or we won't.
So Butters says things like, well, we need you, your daughter needs you, and Harry thinks of Maggie and then breaks down more and cries even more because he almost became the monster he didn't want to raise her. And Sonya starts moving around again, like, you fight dirty. You fight like a Russian.
Right. And the best part is basically in that statement, Sonya forgives him. So
Yeah. And the city is still burning. But that is the end of chapter 23. So we can start next time on 24.
Yay.
yeah. And if you're one of those that reads instead of listens, you may want to listen to this one if you like a good cry. I'm just saying. So I feel like Marsters gets Harry's mental state and emotion fairly well. So
Yeah, he did a really good performance of it.
Oh, you people and your emotions.
I know, right? Yeah, I mean, you'll have to skip past most of the initial fight because he's going to say Jotun 39 times, but other than that, I'll forgive him for this. So.
See, this is why I don't bother listening to things, because I can screw up words in my own head just fine.
Right.
I don't need somebody else doing it for me.
So, plugging.
Go ahead.
I don't want to.
Well, this has been the tragedy of the Dresden Files podcast, the saddest episode ever.
This is the greatest episode. What are you talking about?
Saddest.
Finally
Anyway.
rid ourselves of that 4-5 foot nightmare.
I would have preferred to keep Murphy and lose Butters.
Oof.
That's a tough.
So next
I'd
episode,
have
we'll
to
fight.
think about that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I might be
Finally,
on
we got
board.
a three-way standoff.
Yeah.
We're a member of the Broken Jars Network. Come listen to us next week when we talk about While We Weren't Recording, and click on the drivethrurpg.net link. If you want to talk to us because you missed this episode because of spoilers, then give us money through our Patreon. And
The Patreon tiers are probably needing, they definitely need a major upgrade or like revisit. And so we're going to change
So get
those
them
around
now
a
while
little
they're
bit
cheap.
soon. Yeah, sort of. Then yeah, you pay us $2, join us on Discord, pay us on $12, and then you get to join us on all of our Discord channels. Try to keep something special.
We have more than one Discord channel.
there's at
Yeah,
least 3.
Yeah.
Huh.
So there's a Dresden one, and then there's the one that we annoy you with, Star Wars, if you haven't noticed.
That doesn't
Oh,
count.
yeah. That one's fun.
That's not a Discord. That's a channel I try to pretend doesn't exist.
And yet you respond with memes.
Well, because people are annoying. Specifically that one and the foreign one.
Well, it's just funny because I find myself in this weird middle ground because it's like, yes, the sequels are terrible and whatever, but not everything. So, not the new stuff. The new stuff is good.
Yeah, that's a fight that's going to go on for forever. But
Forever.
check us out. Keep watching.